We have an expert panel of presenters today, have a lot of experience with the ATE PI conference and with our colleagues who support this webinar from the American Association of Community Colleges, the South Carolina ATE Center, and the Mentor Connect project, and we gratefully acknowledge support from the National Science Foundation. We're ready to begin. Welcome to today's webinar, Orientation to the ATE Conference for New Attendees. I'm your host, Mike Lasecki. It's my pleasure now to introduce our presenters. I'll start by introducing my colleague, Elaine Kraft. She's the director of the South Carolina ATE Center of Excellence and the principal investigator of the Mentor Connect project. Elaine, welcome. Would you come on and introduce your co-presenters, please? Elaine, I see your microphone is still muted. There you go.
Hey, Mike. This production today is primarily coming from our friends at the American Association of Community Colleges, Ellen Haas, the Director of Academic and Student Affairs, and she's the principal investigator of the National Science Foundation ATE project that actually funds the ATE PI conference, and her colleague Ken Laurier, who is the ATE project coordinator for that particular NSF ATE grant. Now, Ellen, if you'll take it over.
Thank you, Elaine. And thank you all for joining us today. It's our hope that this webinar will help orient you to the conference, help you maximize your time at the meeting, and give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have prior to the event. So I wanted to begin by going over what we're going to cover on the webinar this afternoon. We'll be talking about the general conference background, giving you some information on registration, hotel, and travel. We'll go over conference content, types of sessions offered, and general flow. We'll talk about ways to participate in the conference with detailed information on the showcase sessions, offer some tips on identifying and connecting with your program officers at the conference, provide an overview of student participation in student events, and answer some other commonly asked questions. So in this section, we'll go over the what, where, when, who, and why. And before we get started on that, I'd like to get a sense of who is in our audience. And so we've launched a poll here, and we'd like to know if you've previously attended an ATE PI conference, and if you have in the past, what number conference this would be. So if you could take a moment to answer this poll, I'd appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Well, we're still coming in a little bit. It looks like overwhelmingly we have new conference attendees here on the webinar, so thank you. This is designed for you, but I'd also like to acknowledge the veteran attendees that we have in the group. And as we move through the webinar, if any of the ATE conference veterans have comments or insights that you'd like to share about your conference experience, we greatly encourage you to contribute them and put them in the chat box. And thank you for closing the poll. And now we will move into the what. So as Mike referenced in our intro, this is the National Advanced Technological Education Principal Investigators Conference, and it's commonly referred to as the ATE PI Conference, or ATE Conference for short. It's a national professional development and networking event for ATE grantees and their project partners. And it is co-sponsored by the National Science Foundation and the American Association of Community Colleges, and it's primarily funded through a grant to AACC. And for those of you who may not be familiar with AACC, we're the primary advocacy organization for the nation's community colleges. We represent nearly 1,200 two-year associate degree granting institutions and more than 13 million students. And AACC supports and promotes its member colleges through policy initiatives, innovative programs, research, and information strategic outreach to business and industry. So the where and the when, so hopefully you know this already. The conference is being held next month in Washington, D.C. at the Omni Shoreham Hotel. These are the dates of the conference on the screen. And if you've not been to the Omni, this is actually a picture of the hotel on the slide, and it is a beautiful historic property near downtown D.C. and greatly accessible by Metro. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. And hopefully you've seen this as well. This is our registration brochure. The theme for this year's conference is Growing Leaders, Leading Change. And we're focusing on growing STEM leaders to meet a spectrum of ongoing changes, such as leadership and culture shifts in campus administration, changes in local, state, and yes, we know we're going to have some changes in federal government as well, and how to develop leaders to address rapid advancement in technology and staying abreast of and responsive to business and industry needs. So these are some of the themes you'll see in the conference content this year. And I'd also like to point out the conference URL as a source for conference information. We're developing the agenda now, and we should have the agenda posted by the end of next week. Who attends the conference? So the conference is attended by approximately 800 people each year. Participants include ATE projects and centers, the PIs, co-PIs, and their grant partners from business and industry, K-12 and four-year institutions. NSF program officers and AACC staff attend, as well as selected guests representing federal government and STEM-related nonprofits and associations. And the conference also includes opportunities for approximately 50 students to attend, and my associate Ken will go over that a little later in the webinar. Now I'd like to turn it over to Elaine to talk about why attend.
Thanks, Ellen. Perhaps the most compelling reason to attend the ATE-PI conference is that NSF expects you to be there. Even so, it is one of the nicest perks that come with being an ATE grantee. It is a privilege to be invited to attend as a principal investigator, project team member, project partner, college administrator, or project evaluator. An important function of the conference is to help you consider your project in the context of the overall national ATE impact on technician education. The conference provides a unique type of professional development not likely to be found elsewhere, especially the learning that results from peer sharing in the context of being an ATE grantee. You will learn things at the conference that will help you in your work today and in the future. You will be surrounded by people who are extremely interested in your work, and I can tell you that doesn't happen every day. Fellow grantees who understand both the joys and challenges of being an innovator in technician education. Now we're going to let Ken tell you a little bit about registration, hotel, and travel.
Thank you, Elaine. The ATE-PI conference requires each individual to register for the conference. In this section, I will go over registration, hotel reservations, and travel arrangements. More detailed information can be found on the ATE website or in the PI's registration packet. AACC receives a list of active grant awards from NSF. Upon receipt of this list, AACC sends an electronic notification as well as printed materials to the respective project and/or center PI. Please note that communication regarding the conference only goes to the PI, and it is important for that PI to then share this information with their respective team members who are planning to attend the conference. All registration materials can be found online on our website as well. You can register using our online portal or by faxing the registration form to the contact number provided in the registration packet. To register, you must have your grant number. This is used as the registration code that is initially requested when using the online portal. The number of attendees a project and/or center can bring to the conference is designated by NSF and AACC. A certain number of slots are allotted for each project and/or center with the goal of keeping attendance at a manageable size to promote networking and information sharing among the ATE community. The chart on the screen breaks down what registration costs are covered by AACC and what should be covered by your grant. Each project will receive 2 complimentary registrations along with lodging for 2 nights. Projects can also bring up to 3 additional people and cover their lodging and registration fees. Centers also receive 2 complimentary registrations along with lodging for 2 nights. Centers can bring up to an additional 5 people and cover their lodging and registration fees. The project and/or center teams are responsible for assigning who on their team will receive the complimentary registrations. Centers also receive 2 complimentary registrations along with For those that do not receive complimentary registrations, there is a registration fee of $300 per person. As a part of the conference, we also offer pre-conference workshops that are an additional $50 per workshop. Everyone attending a workshop is required to pay the $50 fee, including those who are receiving complimentary registrations. Please note that you can use ATE grant funds to pay registration and pre-conference workshop fees. As previously stated, all individuals are responsible for making their own hotel reservations. This also includes those who receive complimentary registrations and lodging. You can make your reservations online or by contacting the hotel directly. Please note that to ensure you receive the group rate, you will need to reference the AACC ATE conference. You will then be asked to provide a credit card to guarantee your room as well as for any incidental charges that may occur during your stay. AACC will cover room and tax for 2 nights for those individuals who receive complimentary registrations. For those who will be paying for lodging on their own, the rate is $257 per night. This is for a single or double room. For those that would like to stay additional nights, the room rate is the same. However, you will be responsible for covering the additional room nights. The Omni extends the group rate based on availability up to 3 days before and 3 days after the conference dates. Please note when making reservations, rooms are not automatically put on the master account. AACC assigns rooms to the master account after the hotel reservation cutoff date of September 28th. Upon check-in, ask the front desk if your room reservation has been assigned to be charged to the AACC master account. If the hotel does not have your hotel billing correct, please report it to the ATE conference registration desk so we can correct it on site. All attendees are responsible for arranging and paying for their own travel. AACC provides airport and ground transportation information on our conference website, which can be found under the Hotel and Travel tab. When arranging for travel, don't forget to factor in travel expenses such as parking, airport transfers, and meals not offered by the conference. For your reference, the conference provides the following meals: an evening reception on Wednesday night, a continental breakfast and lunch on Thursday and Friday. It is permissible for you to pay travel costs to the conference out of your ATE grant funds. If you are a new grantee and did not have money budgeted towards the ATE PI conference travel, you can move money from another budget category to cover conference travel. However, do not move participant support costs without seeking NSF approval first. If you are in doubt about using grant funds to pay for the ATE conference travel, please contact your NSF ATE program officer. So let me break it up with a question. A frequent question that we get is that I have a new project or grant. So using the poll functions in the center, let's ask the question, how many people can I bring to the conference? Let's just take a moment and using the polling functions in the center, answer the question. Give it a few more seconds. Okay, and so it seems that a lot of people think that it's 2 people that you can bring to the conference, but the actual correct answer would be 5. A new project grant can bring up to 5 people maximum to the conference. Thank you, Mike. We can close the poll now. Okay, and let's add another question to that. So out of the 5, how many are complimentary? Now using the polling function in the center again, let's just take a second to answer that question. And it seems as if everybody is on the same page and 2 is the correct answer. Thank you, Mike. We can now close that poll. So I am going to now ask if we have any questions or concerns, and then pass the slide deck back to Elaine to go over navigating the conference.
Thank you, Ken. We appreciated the polling question there. Kept us on our toes. We should have been paying more attention, I guess, on the first one. No, I'm just teasing. Here's a question. Is there Uber from the, it's all about Uber today. Is there Uber available from the airport to the hotel?
Yes, Mike, there is Uber available, as well as regular taxi services, as well as then the super shuttle. So it's at the discretion of the registrant on how they want to get back to and from the airport to the hotel. But Uber is available.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. There was a couple of questions that came up in the chat window, Ken. One had to do with bringing guests or spouses, and Ellen had a chance to answer those. Ellen, I'd like you to come back on because there was some back and forthing there. Ellen, could you come on for a moment and just clarify those two things? Can you bring a spouse? And then the second question about the complimentary coding. Do you mind coming back on and just repeating your answer for everyone?
Sure, Mike. I believe the question had to do with if you're making hotel reservations and you are a comp registrant, is there a specific code you have to use to also ensure you have a complimentary hotel room? The answer to that is no. You would just make your hotel reservations, and then what AACC does is, following the hotel reservation cutoff date, we obtain the list of those that are we had reserved rooms in the hotel, and we assign those that are comp registrants 2 nights to the master account. So it's after you've made your reservation, we go through and assign those that are comp to the master. And then we ask you, just as errors can occur when you check into the hotel, make sure that you ask that your hotel for 2 nights is on the AACC master account. If the front desk does not have your billing correctly in the system, please come to the registration desk. We have a form, very simple, that you fill out, and then we'll ensure that your billing is corrected by the time you check out. And as for the other, there was a question about if you can bring a spouse to the event. You can bring a spouse to portions of the event. We offer them an exhibit hall only registration for $200. That includes entrance to the exhibit hall and main meal events throughout the conference, but it doesn't include access to general sessions.
Well, thank you, Ellen. As long as I have you on the line, there was another question that I'd like to direct to you. One of our attendees is coming to the intro workshop, on Wednesday. Would that invoke a third night of coverage with the hotel?
Unfortunately, no. AACC has budgeted for 2 rooms for 2 participants per project and center, but you can use grant funds to pay for that third night.
Good, thank you. I'm going to go back to Ken for this question. Ken, it's about transportation again. Is Metro available from Reagan?
Yes, that's a great question, and I saw it in the chat box and was about to answer it. Yes, there is. Reagan is actually on the yellow and blue lines of the Metro Rail system. You can take that to the Omni, and that you would have to just transfer. But yes, you can take the Metro from Reagan National Airport.
As I recall, Ken, the station's virtually in the airport, and as you come out at the Omni, I forget which exit it is, it's like a quarter of a block to the hotel, so it's really pretty close.
Yes, it's extremely close, and just as you just mentioned, the Metro exit is connected to the airport and is easily accessible. And then also, once you transfer to or once you get into the Metro Rail system and then transfer to get to Woodley Park, which is the Omni station, it is, I would say, about half a block walk to the hotel.
I've done it myself, and I know it's easy, and it's actually very enjoyable to be in the city. I don't want to spend too much time on this question, but briefly on the costs, I'm going to answer the first 2 parts. The Metro is around a couple of bucks, like $2.85 or something like that. Uber, the last time I did it, was $11. What's the taxi cost? Do you know, Ken, from Reagan to the hotel?
It depends upon the time of day that you're traveling, but I'd say it would range from maybe about $40 to $50.
I seem to remember it a little bit less, but anyhow, it's quite a bit more, isn't it, than those other 2 options?
Yes, it is.
Super Shuttle's in there somewhere, maybe a little bit under 20. Okay, so let's move ahead. Thank you, folks, for those questions. Keep them coming into the chat window. We have several more question breaks coming up. It's our opportunity now to turn over to Elaine. Go ahead, Elaine.
So once you make it to the conference, you might be wondering about how you navigate. There are so many choices. What should you do? Let's start with the opportunity to register for a pre-conference workshop. The pre-conference workshops provided by the ATEPI conference are not as optional as they may seem. If you are a new grantee, you should register for the Getting Started pre-conference workshop. The focus of this workshop is on what you need to know to properly administer an NSF grant. Dr. David Campbell, an NSF program officer, and others will be sharing extremely important information that all grantees, but especially new grantees, really need to know. This is also an excellent pre-conference session for an administrator who is attending the conference with you. Administrators can help you communicate important information to your college business office, where most of the burden of compliance with federal regulations falls. Of course, the fact that your grant creates extra work for the business office explains why your business office may not be nearly as excited about your new award as you are. Other pre-conference workshops also provide an in-depth opportunity to learn and improve your knowledge and skills as a principal investigator. We encourage you to attend the ATEPI conference with a team. This will enable you to divide up your team and participate in as many pre-conference workshops as possible, as well as sessions during the conference. For the pre-conference workshops, you may use your grant funds to pay the additional $50 registration fee, as been mentioned, and the deadline to register is September 28th, so don't hesitate. The central message here is to come early and stay late. You will not want to miss a single minute of this conference. I want to stress again the importance of attending as a team, dividing up your team to attend different sessions to maximize learning and networking opportunities. Expect to be very busy the entire time. So if you want to tour Washington, D.C., you need to plan to arrive a day early or stay a day late. This conference is one that keeps you busy morning, noon, and night. Details about programming for the conference will be provided later in this webinar. Now we're going to shift to Ellen and let her tell you about the...
Thank you, Elaine. So the conference typically offers 4 to 5 pre-conference workshops. And on this slide, we list 3 of the pre-conference workshops that will be offered in 2016 and 2 workshops that were offered at previous ATE conferences. And as an exercise, we just like to see how many of you have read the registration materials or have looked up the pre-conference workshop titles online. I will say a gimme is Workshop A is offered every year, so we're going to take that one off the table. But if you could enter into the chat box the letters that correspond with one of the other titles, so B, C, D, or E, for one of the workshops being offered this year, and then we'll go over these a little bit more. All right, so I see E. A few folks are typing in. Okay, well, I see there are quite a few of you who have looked at the pre-cons. All right. So let's talk about the workshops that are offered. Again, Workshop A is offered every year. We offer this for new grantees. And certainly we require that, or we don't require it, we strongly encourage it, as Elaine mentioned. But we also want to give you a sense of the depth and breadth of the other pre-conference workshops as you continue attending the conference. So also offered this year is Workshop B, Social Media and ATE, Are We There Yet? And Workshop E, A Practical Approach to Outcome Evaluation, Step by Step. And we typically involve a workshop that is focused on evaluation each year, and that's based on the evaluations we receive from the conference. People want to see content focused on evaluation, so there's usually a pre-conference workshop focused on that topic. And the other pre-conference workshops offered this year, we have one on employability skills and one on how to build your sustainability portfolio. So again, while we'll be encouraging you to attend A, you may have team members that you want to split out, or again, want to make you aware of this type of content as you plan for future years' attendance. Now I'd like to move to the plenary sessions. The conference typically features 2 to 3 plenary sessions with keynote speakers. We generally kick off the conference on the first evening with a plenary session that includes a welcome and introductions from the National Science Foundation. Just wanted to give you a sense of some of the caliber of past speakers. This was from last year's event. We had scientist and author Anissa G. Ramirez talking about Make, Do, Build, Why the World Needs STEM Learners. She received a standing ovation last year and was really well received. And on the right side of the slide is Andre Thornton, the Senior Manager for Technical Leadership Programs and STEM at Lockheed Martin's Information Systems and Global Solutions, talking about preparing students with workplace skills and the role community colleges can play in helping to build a diverse workforce. Last year we also profiled as a plenary a successful ATE project that's having a national impact as a proven teaching and learning tool, and it focused on the STEM guitar building workshop. So we had a panel of faculty and students led by facilitator Donald McCoy, former IBM executive and STEM mentor, and they talked about the student impact of this teaching tool and how it translates across several STEM disciplines. And then we did have a little bit of a rock session at the end where faculty and students played the instruments that they had actually created as part of their STEM courses. So again, to give you a flavor of what the plenaries would entail, we sometimes involve federal agencies. So this is in the middle, and on the right we have Mark Matsui, who was with the U.S. Department of Education, and Shonda Brown, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Manufacturing, U.S. Department of Commerce. And then on the left, we had Esther J. Cepeda, nationally syndicated columnist for the Washington Post Writers Group. So again, some diversity in our speaker slate. And on the 20th anniversary of the program, which was back in 2013, we had Congressman David Price and Rick Stevens, retired Vice President for Human Resources and Administration with Boeing, and then our leadership at the time from the National Science Foundation. And then this was a favorite of mine. We also had Hillary Mason, who was a chief scientist with Bitly, who talked about opportunities in social data. So again, to give you a flavor of how the plenary sessions are put together from year to year, this year our opening session will be featuring Dr. Andreas Schleicher, who's the director for the Directorates of Education and Skills with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, speaking on the importance of preparing students with skills and knowledge to be successful in the workplace and looking on how the U.S. ranks in a global perspective in terms of skills requirements. On Thursday, we'll be featuring one of these panels involving students. Myra Gunn, who's the host of Tech Nation with National Public Radio, will facilitate a panel of industry employers alongside their new employees who are recent ATE program graduates. So they've all been students of the programs, have graduated and employed. And on Friday morning, we have Sheila Forte-Trammell, who's a former IBM executive, author, and mentoring expert, speaking on leadership in the 21st century, so really tying into our conference theme this year. She's a very inspiring and engaging speaker, and so I think it would be a lovely plenary and way to close out the event this year. So we also offer concurrent sessions. So these typically occur on Thursday morning. We have 4 concurrents, and they involve formal presentations or panel discussions that address topics pertaining to the conference theme. So for 2016, we are finalizing the concurrence, but we will have a session focused on student and leaders and innovators for initiatives in STEM. So programs that cultivate student leadership and 21st century skills, and this will be led by David Brown, who's a former NSF ATE program director. We'll have a session, Keep Calm and Career Coach On, highlighting career coach utilization success stories and how you could implement that in your projects. We'll have a session focused on competency-based education, and then we'll do a lightning round on emerging and future technologies, and that's usually a well-received session where we'll have various disciplines giving six-minute short presentations focused on a technology and where the technologies are going. So in addition to the concurrent sessions, we have breakfast roundtables. These are offered both Thursday and Friday morning, and they're really designed as a forum for interactive discussion among a small group of people. So we can seat 12 people around a table, so anywhere from 2 to 12 folks will get together to share information. And again, they're designed as information sharing sessions, and participants can select what roundtables they want to attend. There's no signing up ahead of time. You would just find the table number that aligns with the topic in the program and go sit down and introduce yourself. Thursday afternoon of the conference features workshops and discussion sessions. So AACC issues a call for sessions, and you may have seen some reminders that went around, and actually I know some of you with newer awards did submit for this. We ask conference participants to submit proposals to conduct presentations or lead discussion sessions that share promising strategies and lessons learned. So this year we're scheduling sessions as panels, birds of a feather discussion sessions, demonstration sessions, or breakfast roundtables. Panels provide additional venues for formal presentation. So facilitators will facilitate an exchange of ideas, conduct a demonstration or application of techniques or promising strategies. And these tend to be a little bit larger. They're attended by 50 to 60 people. Then we break you down into birds of a feather discussion sessions. That's another conference offering. So again, an interactive venue for ATE grantees to network, share insights, and explore ways to collaborate. So discussion moderators serve as facilitators of interactive, substantive discussion and small group activities, and these are a little smaller, usually attended by 30 or so people. And then new last year and continued this year based on positive feedback, we offer demonstration sessions. So these are short 30-minute presentations that are designed to show how to use or apply a pedagogical tool or concept, and presenters walk attendees through a clear step-by-step explanation of that tool and how it can best be applied or implemented. So you go from the morning, Thursday morning, where you're split into 4 concurrent sessions, these larger sessions, and then Thursday afternoon we split you into, you have 15 offerings. So we'll talk a little bit about splitting up your team to maximize participation, but there's a lot to get a flavor for and to look through the conference program. So hopefully there's something for everyone. And now I'd like to talk about the showcase sessions. The showcase sessions provide grantees an opportunity to exhibit their projects and share information with other programs, NSF, and with guests at the conference. So these are consistently rated on conference evaluations as the highlight of the event. 92% of our conference attendees from last year responded that this was the most valuable conference activity. And so basically AT projects and centers present displays that capture the purpose and products of their programs. So we have 3 showcase sessions at the conference. We flip the exhibit hall over 3 times. We have one on Wednesday evening for ATE centers and 2 showcases for ATE projects, one on Thursday and one on Friday. And we have ATE students showcase as part of the ATE project showcases, and Ken will talk about that momentarily. These are some photos of booth displays. And the showcase sessions do not run like a standard exhibit hall. There are no vendors at the conference. They are all ATE projects and centers talking about what they're doing, what they're planning to do in their grant-funded work. And they're really designed, again, to promote networking and information sharing among the ATE community. And now I'd like to turn it over to Elaine to talk a little bit more about the showcases.
Thanks, Ellen. In case you're wondering, there are about approximately 250 ATE awards active at any time. What this means is that there will be more information being shared at the conference than you can absorb. The conference program can help you prioritize your exploration during the showcases. The showcase abstracts, and that's what you're looking at on the screen. I realize you can't read the fine print, but that's the layout that you will see. This is an sample page. It will allow you to enable projects or centers whose work is of greatest interest to you. It is also really fun and stimulating to shop for ideas beyond your discipline. Some of the most engaging partnerships and innovative work come from cross-disciplinary collaborations. Come with an open mind, behave like a sponge, and just soak it all in. The ATE centers will be showcased on Wednesday night. This showcase focuses on the largest investments in the NSF ATE program. Each center represents years of work and accomplishment. On Thursday and Friday, ATE projects will be showcased along with the student exhibits, as Ellen mentioned. These showcases will include a mix of fresh ideas from those newest to ATE and ongoing projects being implemented by more seasoned PIs. In addition, at all 3 showcases, you will find several special exhibits that feature program-wide services. Examples of the program-wide service exhibits include the Evaluate exhibit that focuses on providing support for project evaluation, and the Mentor Connect exhibit that features mentoring and technical support for ATE grantees and potential grantees. During the exhibits, you will be inspired by the work of other grantees and you are likely to find the resources and possibly even partners you need to make your project dreams come true. You are likely to pick up ideas for your next grant proposal as well. The showcase sessions provide an amazing opportunity to meet people and share ideas. The atmosphere is very social. Keep in mind that the three things that will be of greatest interest to those visiting your exhibit are the great idea that got you funded, your outcomes, and the materials and resources you can share to help others implement your best practices. Even if you have only recently received an ATE award, you are expected to participate in a showcase session this year. Your exhibit need not be elaborate. A few photos, graphs, or charts may be sufficient to convey the concept of your project. Plan to talk with people about your project during the showcase. Don't fill your exhibit board with heavy text. People will come by your exhibit to talk with you, not to read print. Focus your exhibit on highlighting the big ideas or outcomes that you expect to achieve or have already accomplished. What is your main focus? Is it increasing female recruitment and retention in engineering technology? Perhaps infusing nanotechnology concepts into physical science courses? Or are you launching an internship program in geospatial technology? Whatever you're doing, keep your exhibit simple and to the point, and then rely on your conversations with participants to provide the details of your work. Since there are 3 showcase sessions, you will also have an opportunity to shop for exhibit ideas for next year. Notice the sizes of the exhibits, the styles and features of the various exhibits. What appeals to you? Take some photographs, and then you can model your exhibit on the designs you think will work best for showcasing your project next year. One last point. You should prepare an exhibit that is specific to the ATE-PI conference. Using an exhibit that is designed for the purpose of advertising your college is probably not the way to go. You can recognize your college, of course, but your exhibit for the ATE-PI conference should be specifically about your ATE project. And you should include the NSF logo and your grant number on all display materials so that you can use them elsewhere with proper attribution. Now for the yummy part. The food functions associated with the exhibits are located adjacent to the exhibits. In fact, you have to walk by these exhibits to get to the food, and they're always a treat. This arrangement provides a great opportunities not only for exploring the exhibits, but for gathering around a table with new friends and colleagues to pursue common interests. Mike, I think at this point we'll take a short break and answer any questions the audience may have.
Ellen, one question came in just now on email, and it has to do with the image we're looking at. That looks like an awfully low ceiling. If I have lights at the top of my exhibit, should I worry?
Yes, we do advise the ceilings are very low in the Omni Showroom in their exhibit hall. It is actually their parking garage, which you would never know once it is converted to the showcase exhibit hall. So yes, you do want to be aware of going above a 10 by 10 booth in terms of height.
Okay, thanks, Ellen, because I know you have experience with that. I know you would know the answer there. Let me turn a question. Well, let me ask Elaine to answer this one. Elaine, I know there's a limit on the number of people that I can bring as complementary to my project. That's one of the questions that came in. But is there anything that says who I can bring? For example, one person would like to bring their sponsored research officer from their grants office. Is that allowable? Are there any guidelines or restrictions, Elaine?
No. There really aren't. Of course, the principal investigator and co-principal investigator or investigators are logical choices for your project team. As I mentioned before, bringing an administrator who is going to be involved in the implementation of your project or whose work is going to be impacted by your work or vice versa, it's a great opportunity to get that kind of buy-in at the institution. But you're also going to be thinking about next grants. As I mentioned, it's a great place to shop for ideas. And if you can get your grant writer, your sponsored research officer, excited about what's going on in the ATE program and about the potential for you to make a contribution to this effort through future grant proposals in addition to the one that you have right now funded, that's a great idea. What we encourage is for you to bring the maximum, really, the maximum number of people that you can to really maximize this opportunity. It saves you a lot of time at the college trying to explain what being in the ATE program is all about if you have somebody there with you.
Sure, that makes sense.
They go back, they become advocates, and they can really do a lot to help you move your project forward and, again, to get another grant down the road.
Good. Excellent response. Elaine, at this point, I just have time for one more question, if you don't mind. It's a two-parter in a way. One of the questions came in via email and one came in via the chat, and they're related to NSF program officers. The first question was sort of sent to me privately. It says, I'm pretty nervous about meeting my program officer. I don't even know who he or she is. And then the second question is, as you see in the chat window, will be NSF program officers, do they come to the showcases? Do you want to address both of those, Elaine?
Yes. First of all, don't be nervous about meeting your NSF program officer. This is a group of really the most user-friendly people that you will just about ever encounter. Their goal in life is your success. They're excited about your project. After all, they were the one that recommended it for funding. They liked your idea, and so they're really interested in talking with you. So don't be nervous about it. They'd love to meet with you. It is advisable that you contact them in advance of the conference and try to arrange a time to meet. They each have a portfolio of a lot of projects, so they have a lot that they oversee, and trying to find them in a crowd. I don't know that we've even mentioned yet that there are about 800 people who attend this conference, so it's big, and there are a lot of people there. So trying to find them is like the needle in the haystack. So if you have a prearranged meeting time with them, that's often very helpful. The second part of that question is, are they there? And the answer is absolutely. Of all the different federal grant funding programs that I have had any dealings with, the NSF program officers are the best about coming to the conference, coming to the exhibits, visiting each of the exhibits. They're definitely there. And so you should have interaction. And it may be that you don't find your own program officer, but you can talk to another one that you might encounter while you're at the conference. All you need to do is just tell them who you are, what kind of a project you have. If it's a new grant for institutions that are new to AT, a small grant, tell them that. If you've got a project, if you're a repeat grantee, whatever it is, kind of give them a framework for who you are and what you're doing, and tell them a little bit about your project. And I think you'll be amazed. In every case, they're going to be very interested in talking with you about it.
Well, thanks very much, Elaine. I left up these images here because you're right, the food functions really are fun. I'm going to double click us. We have a question thing right here. Let's go ahead and move right on to the section where we're now going to turn back to Ellen. But folks, remember, we'll have other question breaks coming up, so don't hesitate to put your questions into the window. So Ellen, go ahead, maximizing engagement.
Thanks, Mike. And I think we've talked about maximizing your engagement. We'll go a little bit more into specifics. So as mentioned previously, AACC issues a call for sessions where we invite proposals from AT projects and centers to conduct sessions at the conference. There's been a little bit of looking in talk and chat about this. So AACC just closed we closed the call for sessions, and we've recently reviewed them with NSF, so notifications will be going out at the end of the week on that. Just to give you an idea, this is a great way to get involved in the conference. So if you've not submitted a session submission for this year, it's something to consider for next year. But these are competitive. We received about 75 submissions for about 36 submission slots. So that's just, for planning purposes, do maximize your participation, do respond to the call for session, but do know it is competitive. What is not competitive is going back to these showcase sessions. Not only are you encouraged to attend, NSF is requiring participation in the sense that I think they're now putting in the award letter that you should be coming to the conference and putting together a showcase. This is meant to be an opportunity to network and to share information, and where Elaine talked about your program directors being among the most accessible folks, so are your fellow grantees. Again, this is a strong community, a robust community, very encouraging and really wanting to share and collaborate. So that being said, it used to be new grantees were told it's okay to sit out and wait another year and take time to really develop a display. But NSF is asking you to showcase this year and to do so on just a basic level. You can print out flyers. We'll provide you with a basic poster board if you want to put up anything. We know that you're just starting, so you won't have a lot to show, but you can certainly discuss your ideas, where you're hoping to go, and have the opportunity to build potential collaborations. So that's something to think about as well. The showcase deadline is September 20th, so you still have time to sign up for that. And we're going to go through a little bit more about how you would prepare for the showcases for this year as a new grantee, and for future years, as Elaine was talking about, as you build your displays, since this is a requirement of NSF in terms of your participation. So to get a sense of how the showcases are laid out, this is a map of the exhibit hall. AACC assigns all booth space for the showcases, and your displays will need to fit into the space offered by AACC. So there are exact dimensions for AT Center project booths, and your booth will need to fit in within these dimensions. And as Mike and I previously discussed, you want to consider the height of your displays, as the Omni-Showrooms exhibit hall has low ceilings. All booth space must be reserved prior to the conference. We have detailed information on the website. We're going to go through this now as well. Again, you have until September 20th to sign up for a showcase session. So this is an example of a center booth. So the center showcase on Wednesday evening. They're provided a carpeted 20 by 10 booth. We give them 2 6 by 30 tables and 2 chairs. And then this is an example of a project booth. Projects are provided a carpeted 8 by 10 booth, 1 6 by 30 drape table, and 2 chairs. In addition, we also provide access to electrical connections, so there will be a power strip at your table. And you can also select a piece of AV equipment. So if you just wanted to run some graphics on a video monitor, you can request one of the pieces of equipment here on your screen. And again, when you sign up for your showcase, you'll be asked to make your AV selection, and you can do so online. So again, note that you're not expected to come up with a permanent display by October if you are a new PI. Again, we provide poster boards and pins. The dimensions are on our website, and you can also select that when you sign up for a showcase. And you can keep the display simple with really focusing on it as an opportunity to share. And back to Elaine on assembling displays and materials and how you would get your materials to the conference.
Thanks, Ellen. And I'd like to stress that although you're expected to exhibit, you do have to sign up for your space. The exhibit space is not assigned to you automatically because you've registered for the conference. So be sure to follow those instructions that Ellen mentioned and sign up for the exhibit space that you need. Participating in the ATEPI Conference Showcase is an exciting way to share with others, but it's also a lot of work. Prior planning can help eliminate some of the frustrations associated with this activity. Make sure that you have ordered and checked out all of your materials well in advance of the conference. Remember that everything takes longer than you think it should. Practice assembling your exhibit at your institution because setup can be tricky. If there are items or graphics to be placed directly on a display, arranged in front of the display after it's assembled, or however you're going to put it together, you might want to take photographs of your design during your practice run so that you can quickly duplicate the best design when you get to Washington. You will probably discover that it takes someone very tall to put lights at the top of the exhibit if you use them, but that's a little tricky because of those low ceilings, although we have used lights successfully on occasion. So you may want to consider bringing at least one tall person to the conference as part of your team. No, just kidding. But you've got to think through those kinds of logistics. Supplies, tools, ladders, and help may not be available at the time you need to assemble your display. So think through everything in advance. And also, don't tape your boxes so tightly that you can't get them open without the scissors that you packed inside the box because you couldn't take them with you on the airplane. Guess how I know that? Yep, you guessed it. I've made all these mistakes myself. Most exhibitors provide small giveaways to attract visitors and advertise their project or center. You want people to follow up with you after the conference. For that reason, your primary giveaways should be personalized with your contact information or perhaps a website URL. As you visit exhibits this year, notice what items people have chosen for this purpose. Think about what will work for your project. Some people choose items that are related to their discipline. Others attract people with a small dish of candy or customized luggage tags or other low-cost items. Keep in mind that most people fly to the conference and have limited baggage space to take things home. Also, it is important to adhere to all applicable NSF and your own institutional procurement guidelines in providing this type of promotional item. The objective is to facilitate the spread of information about your project, or the NSF word dissemination, and make it easy for someone to connect with you after the conference. The nuts and bolts of getting your exhibit to the conference and back to your institution after the event can be grueling and expensive. Be diligent in figuring all costs in advance. As you make plans to purchase and ship your exhibit or exhibit items, you will have an excellent opportunity to make friends with your college purchasing as well as shipping and receiving departments. You will need their help more often than you realize. There is an exhibitor kit included with the conference registration packet that provides detailed information that you and your college will need to handle this task. Read the fine print. This bears repeating. Read the fine print. For example, do not attempt to ship exhibit materials to yourself at the hotel. Ship your materials as instructed and well in advance of the conference. And don't forget, you need to make arrangements for return shipping to your college at the conclusion of your showcase session. The materials will not magically find their way back home unless you make arrangements for them. These things do not magically happen. It is your responsibility to make the appropriate arrangements and to get the financial approvals necessary from your college and the payments made. All of these costs can be charged to your grant. Now, Ellen, why don't you share with our audience how the program for this conference gets planned each year?
Thanks, Elaine. So you might wonder how this conference gets planned and who decides on what sessions to do. So the conference is actually planned by you. It's planned each year by a steering committee that consists of AACC staff, NSF program officers, and representatives from ATE projects and centers. So the committee meets through monthly conference calls. Typically we start in February. We just held our last conference call yesterday. And steering committee members provide input into the conference agenda and help to develop and moderate the sessions. So if you're interested in serving on a conference steering committee for future ATE conference planning, please contact me or my associate Ken. And in addition to serving on the committee, we also welcome ideas. So you may just have an idea for a keynote speaker or for a session you'd like to see on the program. Please send that our way. And also we provide an opportunity for you to provide that input on the conference evaluation survey that we distribute at the end of each conference. So we encourage you to complete the online evaluation survey following the event and provide us with any suggestions for improvement or for things you'd like to see included at future conferences. We really do strongly consider those. The first thing we do is take a summary of that and share it with the steering committee. So we focus on that as a base as we build each year's conference. And at this time we have a question break.
Thanks, Ellen. There is a question that came in, and Elaine gave a lot of detailed information about the showcases. One question came in, as long as I've got you on the line, can you ship to your room at the hotel, and do they charge you a handling fee? Let's suppose you had a box you wanted to ship.
Well, we do encourage folks to go through Breedy, who is our vendor for the showcases, because they will ensure your materials get directly to your booth.
Right.
However, if you do ship something to yourself as a guest of the hotel does charge a package fee, and I would need to look that up. I can look that up shortly and get back to folks.
I think I did that one year, and I don't think I'm going to do it again. It wasn't worth it shipping it to myself at the hotel. I would much better off going through Breedy.
Strongly encourage it. If you're shipping, a small box of brochures to yourself, that's one thing. If you're shipping a booth, the hotel will actually reject it because they want exhibit materials to go through the exhibit hall company. So if it's something small that you're bringing for a session, that's something you could do. But if it's a number of materials for your booth, or it's your booth itself, that would need to go through our vendor.
Sure, that makes sense. Besides, the hotel is not in the business of incoming and outgoing packages, so good, that makes sense. There was a couple of questions which you've taken the time to answer in the chat window. I'm not going to go over them all except one. Can you remind us again, and Ellen, I'll use you as long as I've got you on the line. Center Showcase Wednesday night, projects Thursday and Friday. How much time do we have to set up before the event? And what's that window of our setup? Could you tell us again?
You have a 45-minute period to set up prior to the event and a 45-minute period following. There is each showcase is 2 hours and 15 minutes. So for the center showcase, they set up a little earlier because so it doesn't conflict with the opening session. So the detailed setup and teardown times are actually posted on the website, but you have a 45-minute setup and a 45-minute teardown time. So typically during breakfast each morning, the showcase exhibit hall is open, so you can go in and set up your display prior to getting started with your day.
As I recall, there's a person at the door that wants to see your badge before you go in, too.
Correct, yes. So you will want to wear your badge to get into the hall.
Good. Thanks. Thank you also for taking time to respond in the chat window. Folks, you can just use your slider bar in the chat window to look at all the questions and answers that have come in. Ellen, why don't you take us into the next session? I'll click here, even though I said, why don't you do it? And tell us more about this issues about identifying your program officer.
Well, thank you, Mike. We actually covered this on a question break, so I'll just go over it briefly. But one of the questions we always receive is, how do I find my program officer? How do I connect with my program officer at the event? First of all, if you don't know who your program officer is, and you may not, and sometimes they do change, there is a link off the Teaching Technicians website here where you can click on Help for ATE-PIs, and it will bring you to a step-by-step instructions on how to navigate NSF's website to find the listing for your program officer. And to kind of help you a little bit, we do put photos of all the program officers in the conference program. Program officers are asked to stand at the plenary session, and they also wear red ribbons that identify them as NSF under their name badges. You can always look for red ribbons as well. Connecting with your program officer, as Elaine already mentioned, there are approximately 800 attendees, and your program officer typically manages several grant awards. You'll want to try to contact them ahead of time in advance if you want to make arrangement for a meeting. But as we've talked about, they're very likely to be in the showcase sessions. They make a point of going around to all the booths. Here in the left is Celeste Carter, and below is Corby Hovis, just to give you a sense of two program officers that you will see at the showcase sessions. So again, we try to provide a way to identify them. NSF also has a booth in the exhibit hall, though they tend to be roaming, so sometimes they put out information there, but they themselves may not be there. But they're also doing Thursday morning and Friday morning, they're conducting breakfast roundtables, so while that may not be all the program officers, you'll have one or two program officers there, and you can certainly ask, it doesn't have to be your program officer, if you had a question, you could ask any ATE program officer your question. They're all ready and willing to assist. So if you had a specific question about your grant, they offer these breakfast roundtables on Thursday and Friday morning and invite you to sit down with some program officers to see if they can address your needs. So some other ways to connect. And then this is Celeste Carter and Dave Campbell, and there are the co-leads of the ATE program. And now I'd like to turn it over to Ken to talk about ATE student participation.
Thank you, Ellen. The ATE conference offers a great opportunity for students to attend, and for many, it is their first time traveling to DC, flying, and attending a professional conference. Each year at the ATE conference, AACC awards approximately 50 scholarships to ATE students to attend the conference. Those selected will receive free registration and 2 nights lodging. The project and/or center is responsible for the student's airfare and other related travel expenses. Each project and/or center may nominate up to 2 students or recent alumni to attend the conference by having them complete and submit the student alumni application. You still have time to nominate a student if you have not done so already. The deadline for the student application is Tuesday, September 13th. AACC will notify the students selected to attend and their sponsoring PIs by Friday, September 16th. Student activities include a recognition ceremony, student-led sessions, student showcase, and a student tour of the National Air and Space Museum. During the conference, students often had the opportunity to present at various conference sessions. In the past, we've had plenary sessions, concurrent sessions, and breakfast roundtables led by students. This year, we will ask the students to attend a Thursday morning plenary session, which will feature a student and faculty member panel. We will have space reserved in the front row for students who will have the opportunity to ask questions first of the panelists and at the end of the session. In addition, the conference will offer an industry speed networking session specifically for ATE students. This session will afford student participants the opportunity to meet accomplished business professionals from a variety of backgrounds and companies. This special student-only session promises to be enjoyable, fast-paced, and an informative experience where they will be given an opportunity to learn and practice interview and communication skills. The conference also gives students an opportunity to showcase their ATE program. Here are a few pictures of past student showcases. Students are expected to prepare a display related to their program of study and their current work for a student showcase session. Students can select to participate in a showcase session on either Thursday or Friday. I would like to encourage all of you to stop by and visit the student booths. Again, this is going to be the first time for many of the students that have never been on a plane or traveled outside of their respective state. So please be sure to say hello and see their booths while attending the showcases. A personal highlight of mine is the Student Recognition Breakfast. Here, students will be recognized by the National Science Foundation for their achievements in STEM at a breakfast held in their honor. PIs are encouraged and more than welcome to attend with their students. AACC will share a completed schedule of student events, a student guide to the ATE conference, and also offer a student orientation webinar on Thursday, September 22nd to make sure all students are aware of their conference activities and opportunities. Here's a group of our previous student cohort from last year. Can't you see all their happy faces? Now let's take some time to ask if we have any questions regarding to student participation.
Ken, it's Mike. There was one question. Is there an age limit? Do the students have to be over a certain age for them to attend?
Yeah, if they have to be 18 or older. Yes, Mike.
Okay.
Actually, Mike, if they are we do have some high school students that attend who are not 18. They just require a chaperone in the form of a faculty mentor.
That makes sense. That makes sense. For the students, this is a sort of little bit off the mark question, but not exactly. Is there any opportunity during this intense couple of days for them to get to see the nation's capital at all, or are there anything where they can get outside of the hotel?
Outside of the tour that we have for them for the National Air and Space Museum, we always encourage the students to go in groups at nighttime after conference hours to just kind of explore the city.
That's
so
good.
there are informal I guess, opportunities, but the only formal one that we would have where we have all the students gathered together would be the tour of the National Air and Space Museum.
You know, one of the students actually on the webinar wrote in, and I guess they've stayed at conference hotels before, and they know that sometimes if you're locked into the, I don't mean locked, but if you're stuck in the conference hotel, you have to pay the restaurant prices. Are there things within walking distance? Is there a McDonald's there that they could get out to?
Yes, Mike, there's a McDonald's, a Chipotle, and a wide array of area restaurants, and we'll also be providing that at the registration desk for all registrants to come in and see what's around the area.
Excellent, Ken.
And Mike, just to add to that, we also prepare a student guide that includes all the information that you're asking, so they're a little more oriented to the area, to the food offerings within walking distance. And we also have a orientation webinar specifically designed for students that's coming up in a couple weeks that Ken leads as well.
Oh, good. Perfect. Ken, that's it for the questions. Why don't you take us forward?
Got you. And so now in this section, I'd like to address other common conference questions such as conference attire, access to internet, and additional ATE resources. The conference attire is business casual, and we suggest you dress in layers, as the conference rooms can be cool. You should also wear comfortable shoes, as there's a good deal of walking involved to get to some of the session rooms and to the exhibit hall. AACC has negotiated with the Omni to provide wireless access code for use by conference participants within meeting rooms and other common areas. AACC will provide this code with your registration materials. In addition, ATE conference participants will receive complimentary wireless access in their sleeping rooms. The code for the sleeping rooms will be provided upon check-in, or you can obtain that information at the registration desk. Now let me turn it back to Elaine, where she'll talk to you about the various resources available within the ATE community.
Thanks, Ken. Being an ATE PI means that you have a wealth of resources at your fingertip, most of which are free. I will mention a few that you may find most helpful. These resources with URLs are included on the webinar handout that was sent to you yesterday along with your login information for today's webinar. And I believe Mike said that it also gets sent out with the link to the recording after the webinar. So you should have access to it. If you need help in preparing a competitive grant proposal, or perhaps with funding process or initial project implementation, Mentor Connect is the website to visit. If you are shopping for grant proposal ideas or grant ATE centers or projects with whom you can collaborate, the following two resources can help. ATE centers have a joint website and an ATE Impact publication that consolidates information about the focus and work of ATE centers. The ATE Projects Impact is a collection of ATE projects that were funded by NSF in previous years. The High Impact Technology Exchange Conference, or HITEC, is an event that provides a wealth of ideas and opportunities to connect with the ATE community. The conference is produced by a large collaboration of ATE centers and projects. The next HITEC conference will be in Salt Lake City, Utah, next July. The ATE resource that allows you to locate and use all resources across the ATE program is ATE Central. Think of it as your ERIC or Google Scholar search tool for all things ATE. TeachingTechnicians.org is your one-stop shop to find out about faculty development opportunities being offered by ATE grantees nationwide. Teaching Technicians has more than 2,000 registered users, actually I think it's 3,000 now, who have an interest in technician and related STEM education. So this site can help you advertise at no cost an event you may be sponsoring as part of your grant. The Teaching Technicians site also provides information to help you in your role as a principal investigator and features a searchable compendium of research on technician education that can help inform your work and provide references for your next grant proposal. ATE TV provides amazing high-quality free video vignettes that you can access to help you recruit students and raise awareness of careers in advanced technology. Content from these videos has now been extracted to provide a way for you to build your own customized recruitment video. The video creation tool and tutorial are located on the teachingtechnicians.org website mentioned previously. Again, all of these resource URLs are provided on the handout for this webinar. So, Mike, do we have any additional questions at this time, or?
We do, Ellen. And folks, as we get into our final question period, I want to ask your help. As many of you know, it's important for us all to demonstrate our impact that we have as we do our programs. And so we have a small survey that we're going to launch right now that asks you to give us some feedback on this webinar and to make some suggestions for going forward. As I launch this survey, it'll be in a different window, and you'll still hear us as we go into our final couple of questions. So we have just another couple of minutes left on this webinar. Here's the survey link. So if on your screen, it'll either launch automatically, or sometimes if you have a Mac, you might have to click on the Browse To function to get it open in your own window. So either answer it as you see it now on your screen, or click on Browse To. Now, while they're doing that, Ellen, Elaine, and Ken, I have a couple of questions for you. Ken, here's a question. Is it safe to ride the metro at night in Washington, D.C.?
Yes, it is, Mike. It is extremely safe, and they have at most Metro Rail stops at least 2 or 3 attendants there. It's well lit, but do keep in mind that there during this time and up until the conference, there's Metro Rail in the Washington metro area is going through a safe track, so Metro will be closed at midnight.
And then it reopens, I think, what, at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m.?
6 a.m., yes, the preceding day.
Right. Okay, good. I've got a question I'm going to turn to Ellen. Ellen, it's clear that you've been involved with this conference for a long time. How long have you been managing the ATE PI conference?
I believe it's been 15, 16 years now.
Oh my God, it really has.
Yes.
You're so responsive, and folks, you can see that that Ellen offers her email connections in there. She's very responsive for questions about the conference, and I think Ellen, excuse me for saying this, but a large part of the success of the production of this conference rests with you and your colleagues there at AACC, so thank you.
Thank you.
Elaine, I have a question for you. If someone says, I'm going to try to get out and see some monuments while I'm there, what's your favorite monument, Elaine?
Oh, Mike, that's a tough question.
It is.
They're all fabulous. Just, each one has its own special history and character, and some of the new ones are just amazing and just provide some very reflective moments about our country and its history and our people. And, you just need to see them all.
That's right. I'll jump in. I'll answer that one. What I found is one time after the conference, I got on the metro, and probably 12 minutes later, I was getting off down at the mall, and I walked over to the Vietnam Memorial. It is so understated and so profound. I just couldn't. It's just what you said, that it has that influence on you. But just to get out, Ebbett's Bar and Grill across from the White House is a great place to go at 10:30 at night, and other things like that. I'm sure other people have suggestions. What about you, Ken? What's your favorite monument? And we're almost done for today.
Monuments, I'd say I really do like the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. That's a really good place to go. And as you stated, as you mentioned, it's very understated as well. So.
Yes. I'll leave that. Yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
It's exciting that the Washington Monument is now available again. It was damaged during an earthquake and was, had a lot of construction work that had to be done on it. It was closed for a period of time, but it's nice to see it open again.
It's cool. Also, I know there's a good restaurant across the street from the Omni that has low-cost martinis at happy hour, but we can talk about that another time. Oh, there's Linda saying that she wants to see the Abraham Lincoln. That's so big when you stand at his feet. It's so big. That's what I remember seeing. Okay, Ellen, you live in D.C. You'll get the last comment. I know I've asked both Ken and Elaine. I'm an outside visitor. Where would you recommend I go if I had a few minutes to escape the conference?
Well, I mean, I think I would have to second to heading down to the National Mall
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
some of the monuments. And it has been stated, I particularly think all of them are so much more dramatic at night. Vietnam,
Yes.
Korean, there's really just a different sense and feel. So I always encourage people, if you get a moment, go during the day, but I particularly like them at night. They resonate in an entirely different way in the evening. And if you just want a good walk, you can walk up the street to the National Zoo. That's, completely open and accessible, and it's something we also encourage people to do if they're, got in late on a Wednesday and have a couple hours to kill and don't want to go around the metro. You can certainly just walk up Wisconsin Avenue to the National Zoo is another fun thing to do.
Good suggestion. Well, folks, this is bringing us to the end. Thank you for responding to our survey that was up on your screen, still is, unless you've closed out of it. As you can see, and this is one thing that always impresses me, you've joined a community in this conference. It's a real community that you're now all part of. Thank you for clicking that forward. You know what? I'm going to take down the survey link just a second. I'll get that off the screen there. Okay, so the reminder of these deadlines, and thanks for advancing that. Student application coming up really fast, September 13th. Great opportunity for your students. September 20th, just 2 weeks away, approximately, showcase deadline, reservation. Hotel, I'll have to tell you, the hotel fills up. Don't wait until September 28th. There's no harm. They don't charge a credit card, I don't think. I would register now for the hotel. And the registration for the conference itself coming up and closing on September 28th. So keep those deadlines in mind. Here's our final set of contact information. The general questions will get a very fast response from ATE at aacc.nche.edu. You can see that there, or the phone number that's listed in the website for the conference. Ellen, Elaine, Ken, thank you very much for all of your participation today. Ellen, for your rapid, and Ken, for your rapid response in the chat window. This is very helpful. Colleagues, I'll be there in October. Hopefully I'll have a chance to say hello to many of you. Ellen, Ken, Elaine, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye, everybody. So this officially ends the webinar. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and look forward to seeing you next week, or excuse me, next month. Bye then.